Nearly 3 years after the onset of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, President Vladimir Putin is hosting a significant summit in Kazan where more than a dozen world leaders are together. This 3-day BRICS summit that began on Tuesday symbolizes a pointed assertion from Moscow that it is not isolated on the world stage. Instead, an emerging coalition of nations appears to be rallying behind Russia, challenging the dominance of Western powers. This year's BRICS summit marks the first gathering of the nations, that is Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa, since its expansion to include new members Egypt, the United Arab Emirates, Ethiopia and Iran. Key leaders attending include China's Xi Jinping, India's Narendra Modi, Iran's Masoud Pezeshkian and South Africa's Cyril Ramaphosa, as well as Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, initially expected to attend, cancelled his trip due to a recent injury. As the largest international gathering Putin has hosted since the war began in February 2022, the summit will highlight a growing coalition of countries that seek to shift the global balance of power. For some, such as Russia, China and Iran, this gathering serves as a counter to the influence of the United States and its allies. Putin's messaging at the summit is likely to underscore the notion that the West stands increasingly isolated due to its sanctions and alliances, while a global majority supports their efforts to challenge American leadership. In a statement to reporters, Putin remarked on the undeniable economic and political clout of BRICS countries, asserting that collaborative efforts could form a substantial element of the new world order. The timing of the summit is significant, coinciding with the upcoming United States elections, where a potential shift in policy under former President Donald Trump could impact US support for Ukraine and its relations with traditional allies. Alex Gabuev, the director of the Carnegie Russia-Eurasia Center in Berlin, said the BRICS summit is really a gift for Putin. The message will be, how can you talk about Russia's global isolation when all these leaders are coming to Kazan? Russia aims to position BRICS as a leading global organization, advocating for a more equitable international order. However, the divergent perspectives and interests among member countries could limit the effectiveness of this unified message. Observers point out that BRICS leaders have historically varied in their viewpoints, which complicates any attempt to project a singular agenda. This gathering also contrasts sharply with last year's BRICS summit in Johannesburg, where Putin participated via video link due to an International Criminal Court arrest warrant related to alleged war crimes in Ukraine. Now in Kazan, he leads the summit amid a vastly different geopolitical landscape. While the BRICS forum is primarily focused on economic cooperation, this year's meeting will likely address the ongoing conflict in Ukraine as well as the escalating tensions in the Middle East, where Israel is engaged in hostilities with Iranian-backed groups. Putin has confirmed that Palestinian leader Mahmoud Abbas will also be present, providing an opportunity for discussions centered on the conflict and the discontent felt by many in the global south towards US policies. As leaders deliberate over these issues, the summit will also serve as a platform for China and Brazil to present their joint 6-point peace proposal regarding the Ukraine conflict. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has criticized such proposals, asserting that they could inadvertently benefit Moscow. The summit offers Putin a chance for one-on-one discussions with other BRICS leaders and allied dignitaries. Notably, Iran's inclusion in BRICS further solidifies a strategic partnership, especially as Iran has reportedly provided Russia with military supplies during the conflict. Discussions are expected to center on advancing efforts to conduct international trade outside of the US dollar-dominated financial system, allowing member countries to mitigate the impact of Western sanctions. The agenda will also likely include enhancing cooperation in various sectors such as energy, technology, and financial services. However, the internal divisions among the BRICS nations remain a significant challenge. The group has historically included countries with differing political and economic systems, leading to complex dynamics. For instance, India and China share a long-standing border dispute, yet both are vital members of BRICS. Their differing approaches to international relations further complicate the group's cohesion. As BRICS continues to expand, which is more than 30 additional countries have expressed interest in joining, the Kremlin's efforts to redefine the group's identity face challenges. Observers suggest that countries may seek to avoid choosing sides between a pro-Russian or pro-Western stance, instead opting for a pragmatic engagement to bolster their economic interests. Ultimately, as the BRICS summit unfolds, it will serve as a crucial test of the coalition's unity and its potential to exert influence on the global stage, particularly in a world increasingly divided by geopolitical tensions.